What is a matrix? Why would you ever need to use a matrix? How to send stuff to a matrix? What can you or can't you send to a matrix? What kind of processing can you do on a matrix? And finally, how do you route a matrix to a physical output so you can actually connect it to a speaker? That's what we're doing in this video, so let's get started. This is a matrix. This is the mono center bus, and this is nothing. Okay, I got this question yesterday. Someone asked me if they can assign this seventh fader to something, and I said no, because there is nothing to be assigned to it. The console only has 6 matrices, okay, and this exists just because you use it for other things like DCAs or buses. Okay, but on the matrix page, the seventh fader, you can't do anything with it. Okay, so what is a matrix? The simplest definition I can give you is that a matrix is a bus for buses. What do you do to a bus? This is a bus. You send channels to it, right? But can you send a bus to another bus? No. And that's where matrices comes in. A matrix allows you to send a bus to it. Okay? So is it then that a matrix is a better alternative than a bus because it allows you to send buses to it? No, because it's not that you can also send buses, you can only send buses. You cannot send a channel to a matrix. Then what can you consider as a bus and what can you consider as a channel? Because this is a very simple question, but it's not as obvious as it seems. These 1 to 32, these are channels. You know that, it's in the name, channel number 24. Okay, the aux inputs, aux 1 to 6, these are also channels. Then what about the USB input? The USB, this one, these are also channels. So you cannot send those to a matrix. What about the effects returns? Are these channels or buses? Let's find out. This is bus number 13. You send channels to it, right? And then you put an effect on it. So the output of bus number 13 goes into the input of the effect. You do whatever you need to do, and the output of that effect goes into the effect returns. So these are channels that don't have a physical input. They get their input from the output of the effect. So they are channels, not buses. Okay, so these 3 pages, everything on the first 3 pages, you cannot send to a matrix. So what can you send? The buses, bus 1 to 16, you can send them to a matrix. What can you also send? You can send the mono center bus, this is also a bus. And you can also send the left-right, the main left-right, this is also a bus. Okay, so a bus is for channels, a matrix is for buses. Great. How do you send buses to a matrix? I'll show you, but before that, why do we even need to use a matrix? What's the point? Some people like to use them to send the main left-right, for example, to a different set of speakers on a balcony or in a different room. And that's great, but can't you do that in the routing page? You can just go to the output page and say that output 1 and 2, for examples, are also gonna give me the left-right. Yes, you can do that, but all these outputs will have the same levels and will be controlled by the same fader. So simply a matrix allows you to send the same exact output signal to different places and allows you to have control over the level, the EQ, the compression of each one of these different places separately. How to send a bus to a matrix? If you ever tried to use matrices and you felt confused, I don't blame you. I also felt confused, and overall the routing system on this console does the job, but it's not very intuitive or user-friendly. And here's what I mean. You can do bus sends 2 different ways, either using this right here, the encoders, or with the faders. If you use the encoders, don't, okay? It's just too slow and I don't like it, so I'm gonna show you the better way. The most efficient way and the thing that makes the most sense is just to select the bus and then hit the flip fader button, and then you will send channels to that bus, right? And then unclick that button. So these are all the channels that go to that bus. Okay, let's try this on matrices. Go to the matrix, select a matrix, flip fader, and nothing. you cannot do that. But there's another way to do it, and that other way is a bit confusing. It's kind of backwards. It doesn't make too much sense. So instead of selecting the bus and then hitting flip fader and send the channel, you will select the channel instead. And you can see right here, it says channel 16, arrow to bus number 1. Channel 16 to bus number 2. So you raise the fader of the bus. And it's the same with matrices. So I'm going to go to the matrix. If I want to send the main left right to that matrix, I'm going to select the main left right. And look here, it says left right to matrix 1, left right to matrix 2. So I'm going to raise the fader on the matrix, and that sends the left right to the matrix. And if these two are a stereo pair, don't forget to link them. So select one of them and go to the home page and then click on link, confirm, and these two are a stereo pair. Okay, but you can also not just send the main left right, you can send the mono bus, click on it, send it. You can send the other buses. So if you want to see them, you can click here to see the buses, select one of them, and now it says bus 8 to matrix 1. You can do that. Okay, so you can send more than one bus to the same matrix. Another very useful thing to do with matrices is crossovers. So if you have a two-way or three-way speaker system and you need to send these frequencies to that speaker, these frequencies to the other speaker, you would use matrices. Now, in a perfect world, you would have a sound technician who is dealing with that, but most cases you would need to do it yourself. First of all, if your speakers do have crossover filters in them and you're just adding subwoofers for extra bass, don't use matrices. Instead, use the mono center bus. So you're gonna select the mono center bus and then flip fader and only send the bass channels to that mono bus. So the kick drum or the bass guitar or anything that has a lot of bass. And then you will send that mono bus to your subwoofers, but not the matrices. However, if your speakers don't have a crossover circuit in them or a digital crossover system and you're running a two-way or a three-way speaker system, you're gonna do that manually, and here's how to do it. First thing you need to do is link the matrices, because the main mix is a stereo signal. It's a left and right. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the first matrix, go to the home page, and click on link, confirm, and this now is a stereo pair. I'm gonna do the same thing for the rest. So select the third one, click, link, confirm. The third and fourth are now a pair. Then select the fifth one and link, confirm. And these are three stereo pairs. This is for the low frequencies, this is for the mid frequencies, and this is for the high frequencies. I'm gonna select the first pair, go over to the EQ, turn it on, and go to the high frequencies. Make sure it's a high cut, and go over here to the EQ, and lower the frequency till around 100 Hertz. It all depends on the speakers you're using. I'm just picking a random number for the sake of this example. Okay, cool. I'm gonna select now the second pair and also turn on the EQ and select the low frequencies and make sure it's a low cut and go up to 100 Hertz, the same as the other one. So this first pair is starting from 20 Hertz up to 100 Hertz. This is starting from 100 Hertz. I'm gonna also need to cut the highs because the second pair is just for the mid frequencies. So I'm gonna select the high and make sure it's a high cut and go ahead and lower the frequency till it's about 4K. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to the third pair, select it, turn on the EQ, and go to the low, and make sure it's a low cut. And I'm gonna go up with the frequency till it's about the same as the other one, so 4K. This is 4K. Okay, so now this is for the bass, 20 to 100 Hertz. This is for the mids, so 100 to 4K. This is for the highs, 4K all the way up to 20,000 Hertz. And if you're using a two-way system, it's just one less step. So just cut the highs on one pair and cut the lows on one pair at the same frequency, and that's it. Now that all the crossover points are set, you still need to send the main left-right to all three stereo pairs of matrices. You know how to do that. So you're gonna select the main left-right and then click flip fader and send the first pair, send it to the second pair, and send it to the third pair. And make sure to turn this off again, okay? This is very important. And if you want to make sure that all 3 pairs are exactly at 0, you can click on here, View, in the bus sends section, click View, and right here you can view the levels. So we have the main left try selected. The first pair is minus 1.8, I will make it 0. The second pair is minus 1.5, I will make it 0. And the third pair is exactly 0. Okay, this is how you make sure you're sending an equal amount of level to all the matrices. Okay, cool, but you still need to route the matrices to a physical output to be able to connect it to a speaker, right? So here's how to do it. Go to the routing page, and then go to the right to the out page. And now I'm gonna say that output 1 is gonna go to matrix 1, output 2 is gonna go to matrix 2, output 3 to matrix 3, 4 to matrix 4, output 5 to matrix 5, output 6 to matrix 6. Cool. And now these are the XLR outputs on the back of the console. And if you're using the mono center bus, you can also do that. Go to output 7 and go to the main LRC and select it as the main mono/center. And that will be the mono bus for the bass channels if you're using extra subs. And you don't have to use the mono center bus just for bass. You can send anything to it really. It's just an extra bus. If you found this video helpful, consider hitting the like button. I would appreciate that very much. And click here to learn how to use the user assignable buttons, mute groups, and DCAs. Click here if you want to learn how to use scenes, snippets, and cues. And I will see you there.